Lieutenant Jack Morrison sat alone in the small scout ship as it drifted toward the edge of known space. His mission was simple: explore, observe, and make peaceful contact with any new civilizations. The United Earth government had sent dozens of these missions out over the past 5 years. Most found nothing. Some found traces of ancient settlements. Jack was the lucky one. The first sign came as a blip on his sensors. Then another. Within minutes, his screens filled with signals unlike anything in Earth's database. Jack's heart raced as he sent the automatic first contact message, a simple greeting in over 200 Earth languages, along with basic mathematical sequences to show intelligence. 3 days passed before they answered. The screen lit up with the image of a tall, reptilian being with pale blue scales and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "We are the Vantari hegemony," the alien said in a voice that sounded like stones grinding together. "You have entered our space. Identify yourself." Jack straightened his uniform and spoke clearly. "I am Lieutenant Jack Morrison of Earth, a peaceful explorer. I come seeking friendship and knowledge exchange between our worlds." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Earth, we have not heard of this world. We are relatively new to interstellar travel," Jack explained. "Our home is approximately 40 light years from this position." The communication ended abruptly. Jack waited nervously, wondering if he had somehow offended them. 2 hours later, his ship's sensors detected a massive vessel approaching, easily 50 times the size of his scout ship. "Human vessel," came a new voice. "You will be escorted to Vantar Prime to meet with the High Council. This is a great honor." Jack sent a quick message back to Earth with his coordinates and the news of his discovery before joining the Vantari ship's flight path. The journey took 6 days, during which Jack studied the limited information shared by his hosts. The Vantari controlled over 30 star systems. They valued strength and had a rigid social hierarchy. Their technology was impressive, particularly their weapon systems. When they arrived at Vantar Prime, Jack gasped at the sight. A massive blue-green planet orbited by 3 moons and surrounded by orbital stations that gleamed in the light of the system's yellow sun. "Prepare for landing," the Vantari escort announced. The landing pad was surrounded by tall, spire-like buildings. A delegation of Vantari officials waited as Jack stepped out of his ship. The air was breathable, but had a sweet, almost cloying smell. "Welcome to Vantar Prime," said a heavily decorated Vantari. "I am Supreme Commander Krozek. You will be presented to the High Council tomorrow. Tonight, you will rest and prepare." Jack was led to comfortable quarters but noticed the guards posted outside. He used the time to send another update to Earth through his ship's communication system. The message would take weeks to arrive, but protocol demanded regular updates. What Jack didn't know was that the Vantari High Council had already made a decision about him and Earth. In their meeting chamber, 7 elder Vantari discussed the unexpected visitor. "This human comes from a world unknown to us," said Council Leader Drav. "We must determine if they are a threat." "Their technology is primitive," another counselor noted. "This scout ship has minimal weapons and no significant defenses. And their home is far away," added a third. "Too distant to pose any immediate concern." "Then we proceed with the traditional test," Drav decided. "We will evaluate their species' response to provocation." "The human mentioned peace," said a younger counselor. "Perhaps this time." "Peace is for equals," Drav interrupted. "Until proven otherwise, they are insignificant. The test will proceed as always." The council voted unanimously. The fate of Lieutenant Jack Morrison was sealed, and with it, the Vantari hegemony had unknowingly set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of humanity forever. Morning came quickly on Vantar Prime. Jack Morrison woke to the sound of his door sliding open. 4 tall Vantari guards entered his room. They wore bright armor that reflected the light in blues and greens. "The High Council awaits," one guard said. "Follow us." Jack dressed in his formal Earth uniform. The small Earth patch on his shoulder felt like a tiny reminder of home in this strange place. He followed the guards through long hallways with high ceilings. The walls were covered in what looked like battle scenes. Vantari ships firing on other vessels, planets burning, alien species bowing before Vantari leaders. Jack's unease grew with each step. Something felt wrong about this place, but he reminded himself of his duty. First contact was always risky, but always worth it. Humanity had met 15 alien species so far, and all those meetings had ended in peace. The council chamber was a huge round room with 7 tall seats arranged in a half circle. Behind the seats, a large window showed the city below. Hundreds of Vantari stood along the walls of the room. Jack noticed many were filming with small devices. Approach, human, called the oldest-looking Vantari from the center seat. His scales were pale, almost white, compared to the blue of the others. Jack walked forward and bowed slightly. "I am Lieutenant Jack Morrison of Earth. I bring greetings from my world and hope for peaceful relations between our peoples." The old Vantari, Council Leader Drav, leaned forward. "Tell us of Earth. How many ships do you have? What weapons do you make?" Jack chose his words carefully. "Earth is peaceful now. We have exploration vessels and defense ships to protect our colonies. Our focus is on science and discovery, not war." The council members looked at each other. One of them made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You come from a weak world then," said Drav. "Yet you travel alone into unknown space. Either you are brave or foolish." "I believe in the good of all thinking beings," Jack said. "Earth has found friends among the stars. We hope to count the Vantari among them." Drav stood. "We have a tradition for first meetings. A test, if you will." Jack nodded. "I would be honored to participate in your customs." Drav raised his hand. The guards moved to surround Jack. "This human speaks of peace," Drav announced to the watching crowd. "Let us see what his people are truly made of." A cold feeling spread through Jack's chest. He looked around the room, suddenly aware of how many Vantari were recording. This wasn't a diplomatic meeting. It was some kind of show. "I don't understand," Jack said. "What test do you mean?" "The test of consequence," Drav said. "When you die, what will Earth do?" Jack tried to run, but the guards grabbed him. "This is against all galactic laws," he shouted. "Earth will not stand for this." "Then they will need to prove it," Drav said calmly. On Jack's ship, the small probe he had programmed to record all his diplomatic meetings activated its emergency protocols. It detected his increased heart rate and stress hormones through his uniform sensors. When the Vantari raised a ceremonial blade, the probe launched silently from the ship bay, carrying its recording. Jack thought of Earth as the blade came down, of green fields and blue oceans, of his family back home. His last thought was a warning, a wish that Earth would be careful with these dangerous beings. The Vantari broadcast the execution across their territory. Supreme Commander Krozak looked pleased as he addressed the High Council after the human's body was removed. "The probe from his ship is full, as expected," Krozak reported. "It will carry news of our strength back to this Earth." "And what will they do?" asked a younger council member. "Nothing of consequence," Drav answered. "They are 40 light years away. They speak of peace. They send lone explorers with minimal defenses. They are no threat to the hegemony." Krozak nodded. "I have already classified humans as a negligible species in our threat assessment database." Little did they know, as Jack Morrison's blood dried on their ceremonial floor, they had just made the biggest mistake in the history of the Vantari hegemony. The probe took 3 weeks to reach Earth. It flew past the outer defense systems, broadcasting Jack Morrison's identification codes. Earth's Space Command detected it immediately and brought it to the main station orbiting Earth. Secretary General Diane Harper was in a budget meeting when the call came. "Excuse me," she said to the room of officials. "There's an emergency." Her assistant's face told her this was serious. 5 minutes later, she sat in the secure viewing room with Admiral Peter Lawson and General Susan Bradley. They watched in silence as the probe showed Jack's execution. When it ended, no one spoke for a full minute. "Those bastards," Admiral Lawson finally said. His fists were clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. Diane stood up. "Call an emergency session of the United Earth Government. Now. And get me Dr. Olivia Martinez. We need to understand who these Vantari are." Within hours, the video spread across Earth and its colonies. People gathered in homes and public spaces, watching in horror. Some cried. Others shouted for revenge. Most sat in stunned silence. In New Washington, the emergency session began at midnight. All 200 representatives from Earth and its colonies attended, either in person or by secure video. The massive chamber was unusually quiet as Diane Harper took the podium. "Today we witnessed an act of unprovoked brutality against Lieutenant Jack Morrison," she began. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed her anger. "This cannot go unanswered." Dr. Olivia Martinez spoke next. She was Earth's best xenopsychologist, an expert in alien cultures and behaviors. She had studied the probe's data for hours. "The Vantari are a conquest culture," she explained. "They respect only strength and domination. This execution was a test. They want to see if we are worth their attention. Then we should give them our full attention," General Bradley said. Many representatives nodded. Admiral Lawson stood up. "I propose immediate military action. The quantum displacement network can get our ships there within days." A murmur ran through the room. The QD network was Earth's most closely guarded secret, a system that allowed near-instant travel and communication across vast distances. Officially, humanity was still using standard faster-than-light technology that required weeks or months for long journeys. "Are we ready to reveal that technology?" asked the representative from Mars. "If not now, when?" Admiral Lawson replied. "One of our own was butchered on a diplomatic mission." Dr. Martinez raised her hand. "The Vantari expect either no response or a weak one. They've classified us as negligible. This gives us an advantage." Diane Harper listened to all sides for 3 hours. Arguments for peace, arguments for war, arguments for something in between. Finally, she made her decision. "We will respond," she said, "but we will do so as humans, not as monsters. We will show the Vantari and the galaxy what humanity truly is." She called for a vote on her plan. It passed with 178 votes in favor. In the following days, Earth moved with quiet purpose. Scientists Alan Bishop and Karen Rodriguez activated all nodes of the quantum displacement network. Military ships gathered at secret bases, special forces units trained for the specific mission. Captain Eric Daniels received command of the flagship UES Retribution. As he looked at his crew, the best Earth had to offer, he thought about Jack Morrison. They had been friends at the academy. "They think we're weak," he told his officers during their first briefing. "They think we're far away and insignificant. They're about to learn how wrong they are." Major Frank Collins prepared his special operations team. Each member was chosen for their skills and discipline. "We're not going for revenge," he told them. "We're going for justice. Remember that." The plan was called Operation Silent Thunder. It would begin with a message, a single chance for the Vantari to make things right. Earth didn't expect them to take it. In fact, they were counting on the Vantari's arrogance. 7 days after receiving the probe, Earth was ready. The galaxy was about to learn why it was a terrible mistake to kill a human and expect no consequences. Operation Silent Thunder moved quickly. The UES Retribution led a fleet of 50 ships to the edge of Earth's solar system. Each ship carried the best weapons humans had ever made. Many of these weapons had never been seen outside Earth space before. Captain Eric Daniels stood on the bridge of the Retribution. The ship was large and powerful, with smooth lines and dark hull plates that absorbed light rather than reflecting it. "All ships report ready, Captain," said his first officer, Commander Lisa Wright. Eric nodded. "Begin KD network activation sequence." Deep inside the ship, Scientists Alan Bishop and Karen Rodriguez worked at their stations. They had helped create the quantum displacement network after the Great Unification Wars on Earth. The technology allowed ships to move between points in space almost instantly, without the long travel times of normal spaceflight. PD network is online, Alan reported. All nodes are responding. Karen's fingers moved quickly over her screen. I've mapped entry and exit points throughout Vantari space. We can position ships at all key locations simultaneously. On the command deck, Major Frank Collins briefed his special operations teams. 20 men and women in black uniforms listened carefully to his words. We go in quiet and precise, Frank said. Our job is to secure key targets with minimal casualties. We are not there for revenge. Remember that. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Samantha Jones, displayed maps of Vantari command centers. Teams 1 through 5 will target military communications. Teams 6 through 10 will secure governmental facilities. The rest of you have specific targets listed in your mission briefs. Meanwhile, Ambassador Natalie Warren prepared for her role. She would be the face and voice of Earth, giving the Vantari one chance to avoid conflict. She reviewed Dr. Martinez's notes on Vantari culture and practiced her message again and again. Remember, Dr. Martinez told her, they respect strength but not cruelty. Be firm but not threatening. They need to understand we are different from them. Secretary General Diane Harper made a final inspection of the fleet before departure. She walked with Admiral Lawson through the Retribution's main hangar. Are we doing the right thing, Peter? She asked quietly. Admiral Lawson looked at the ships and crews preparing for the mission. If we do nothing, Jack died for nothing. And the Vantari will see it as weakness. They'll eventually find their way to our space, and more will die. Diane nodded. Proceed as planned. But remember our limits. We are not going to become monsters to fight monsters. The time came for departure. Captain Daniels addressed the combined fleet from the Retribution's bridge. Today we carry the honor of Earth to a distant star, he said. We go not as conquerors, but as defenders of justice. Lieutenant Morrison's death will not be meaningless. Through our actions, the galaxy will know that humans stand for something greater than power. We stand for justice. The quantum displacement network activated. 50 points of light appeared in space before each ship. They looked like small tears in the fabric of reality. All ships, proceed to your assigned coordinates. Captain Daniels ordered. Operation Silent Thunder is go. One by one, the ships disappeared into the light points. The Retribution went last. Inside his quarters, Captain Daniels looked at a photo of himself and Jack Morrison at the Academy. They were young and smiling, full of hope for a peaceful future among the stars. We'll make it right, Jack, he whispered. The Retribution entered the KD network. For a brief moment, all the crew saw was bright light. Then darkness. Then stars again, but in a different pattern. They had arrived at the edge of Vantari space. Commander Wright checked her screens. All ships report successful transit. We are in position. Captain Daniels nodded. Send in Ambassador Warren's ship. Let's give the Vantari their one chance to do the right thing. A small, unarmed vessel moved forward. Inside, Ambassador Natalie Warren prepared to deliver Earth's message. Behind her, hidden by the KD network, waited the most powerful fleet humans had ever sent into space. The Vantari were about to learn a crucial lesson about humanity. Ambassador Natalie Warren's small ship approached the border of Vantari space. It was a simple vessel with no weapons, designed to look unthreatening. The inside was comfortable but plain. Natalie sat in the captain's chair, her back straight and her face calm. We are being scanned, reported the pilot, a young officer named Paul Green. Natalie nodded. Let them scan. Open a channel when they contact us. It didn't take long. A Vantari patrol ship approached, twice the size of their small vessel. The communication screen lit up, showing a Vantari officer with dark blue scales and sharp eyes. Unidentified vessel, you are approaching Vantari space. State your purpose or be destroyed. Natalie stood up. I am Ambassador Natalie Warren of Earth. I bring a message for the Vantari High Council. The Vantari officer's eyes widened slightly. Earth, the human world. Yes, Natalie said simply. Will you deliver my message, or shall I broadcast it myself? The officer disappeared from the screen. A few minutes later, he returned. You may broadcast your message. The High Council is listening. Natalie took a deep breath and faced the camera. Her brown hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and she wore a formal black uniform with a small Earth emblem on the collar. To the Vantari High Council and all Vantari citizens, I speak on behalf of the United Earth Government. 3 weeks ago, your council executed Lieutenant Jack Morrison, a diplomatic envoy, in violation of all civilized practices between sentient species. This act was recorded and witnessed by the people of Earth. She paused, letting her words sink in. One human life has been taken. You have 24 hours to surrender those responsible for this act to Earth's justice system. If you refuse, Earth will take appropriate action. This is not a threat. This is a promise. The Vantari officer stared at her in silence for a moment. Then he laughed. Your world is 40 light years away. It would take you months to reach us, even with your best ships, and you have no weapons that concern the hegemony. Natalie neither smiled nor frowned. 24 hours. That is all I came to say. She signaled for the transmission to end. Back on the Vantari homeworld, the High Council gathered to discuss the strange message. Council leader Drav seemed amused. They send one unarmed ship with one female to deliver threats. He said to the other council members, perhaps I was wrong about them being negligible. They are simply stupid. Supreme Commander Krozak entered the chamber and bowed. The human vessel remains at the border. I have sent 3 warships to capture it. We can study their technology and learn if they have anything of value. Good, Drab said, and prepare a response to their ridiculous ultimatum. Tell them if they ever enter our space again, we will destroy them immediately. They mentioned justice, said one of the younger council members. Perhaps we should. Silence. Drav snapped. They are nothing. Their world is far away. Their ships are few and slow. We have nothing to fear from humans. Across Vantari space, people watched recordings of Natalie's message. Some laughed. Some wondered. A few worried. No species had ever responded to a Vantari test with such calm confidence. On her ship, Natalie waited. Paul looked nervous. What if they attack us? He asked. They probably will, Natalie replied. That's why we're here. To see how they respond. Her communication device beeped. It was Captain Daniels from the Hidden Retribution. 3 Vantari warships are heading your way, he said. Do you want to pull back? Natalie shook her head. No. We stay. Let them show their true nature. The 24-hour deadline began to count down. In hidden positions throughout Vantari space, Earth's fleet waited, weapons ready but powered down. Major Collins and his teams reviewed their targets one last time. On Earth, Secretary General Harper addressed the United Earth Government. The message has been delivered. Now we wait. I pray they make the right choice, but I do not expect it. The galaxy held its breath as a small human ship faced down the mighty Vantari hegemony, unaware of what was hidden in the darkness of space. The 24 hours passed quickly. On Vantar Prime, the High Council ignored Earth's ultimatum. The 3 warships sent to capture Ambassador Warren's vessel moved into position, preparing to use tractor beams to bring the small ship in. Time is up, Captain Daniels said from the bridge of the Retribution. Any response from the Vantari? None, sir, reported Commander Wright. Their warships are powering weapon systems. Captain Daniels nodded. Then we proceed as planned. All ships. Operation Silent Thunder is active. Phase 1. Begin. Across Vantari space, 50 points of light appeared simultaneously. Earth ships emerged from the quantum displacement network at key locations, above military bases, near space stations, and around the Vantari homeworld. Before the Vantari could react, Earth was everywhere at once. On Vantar Prime, alarms blared across the capital city. Council leader Drav rushed to the emergency command center with the other council members. "What is happening?" he demanded. Supreme Commander Krozak stared at the screens in shock. "Human ships, dozens of them. They're everywhere." "Impossible," Drav shouted. "How did they get here so quickly?" On the main view screen, the UES Retribution appeared above the capital. It dwarfed the Vantari ships nearby. Captain Daniels opened a channel to all Vantari frequencies. "This is Captain Eric Daniels of the United Earth Government. Your time to respond peacefully has ended. We are now taking action." The Earth ships moved with precise coordination. They didn't fire on Vantari vessels. Instead, they launched small objects toward key military installations. Major Frank Collins and his teams deployed from these objects. Drop pods designed for stealth insertion. Within minutes, they had control of the Vantari's main communication centers, weapons facilities, and government buildings. On the Vantari homeworld, Lieutenant Samantha Jones led her team into the High Council's command center. The Vantari guards raised their weapons, but stopped when they saw the strange devices on the humans' belts. "These are neural disruptors," Samantha explained calmly. "They won't kill you, but they will cause extreme pain. Please lower your weapons." The guards looked at each other, then slowly put their weapons down. Across Vantari space, the same scene played out. Earth forces took control with minimal violence. Their technology was far beyond what the Vantari had expected. The humans moved like ghosts, appearing inside secure locations without triggering alarms. Dr. Olivia Martinez began broadcasting to all Vantari worlds. Her message included Earth's history, its wars, its peace, its struggles to unite. She showed them humanity's capacity for both terrible violence and remarkable compassion. "We could have destroyed your ships," her broadcast explained. "We could have bombed your cities. That is what you would have done in our place. But humans are not Vantari. We seek justice, not vengeance." On the Retribution, Captain Daniels watched as Vantari ships surrounded his vessel but kept their distance. His weapons officer waited for orders. "Do not fire unless fired upon," Daniels said. "Remember, we're here to show them who we are, not who they are." In the High Council chamber, Major Collins and his team entered. They found Council Leader Drav and the other council members trying to escape through a hidden exit. "Council Leader Drav," Collins said, "by the authority of the United Earth Government, you are under arrest for the murder of Lieutenant Jack Morrison." Drav hissed in anger. "You cannot arrest me. I am the leader of the Vantari hegemony." "Not anymore," Collins replied. "Your position doesn't protect you from justice." Outside the council building, Vantari citizens gathered in confusion and fear. They had never seen their mighty military so easily defeated. On screens across the planet, Dr. Martinez continued her broadcast, now showing images of Earth, its oceans, forests, cities, and people. "We came 40 light years not for conquest, but for justice," she said. "This is the human way." Throughout the galaxy, other species watched in amazement. The Vantari hegemony, feared across dozens of star systems, had been subdued in less than an hour by a species they had dismissed as insignificant. 3 days after Earth forces took control of the Vantari government, the trial began. Humans set up a large courtroom in the central plaza of the Vantari capital. Representatives from 12 other alien species arrived to witness the proceedings. None had ever seen the Vantari held accountable before. Council Leader Drav and 3 other council members sat in the defendant area. They wore simple clothes instead of their usual fancy robes. Their wrists were bound with thin metal bands that glowed with soft blue light. Lieutenant Maria Sanchez served as the prosecutor. She was a lawyer from Earth with dark hair and serious eyes. She stood before the court with a tablet in her hand. "This trial will follow the intergalactic justice protocols," she announced. These protocols are recognized by 37 spacefaring species, including Earth. The Vantari have never signed them, but they will be given all rights under these rules. The aliens in the audience murmured in surprise. Most had expected the humans to be harsh or vengeful. Captain Daniels sat in the front row, watching closely. Secretary General Harper had asked him to oversee the trial personally. Next to him, Dr. Martinez observed the Vantari in the crowd. Their reactions would tell her much about their culture. Maria began by showing the recording of Jack Morrison's execution. Many in the audience turned away from the brutal images. The Vantari in the crowd looked uncomfortable. Lieutenant Morrison came in peace, Maria said. He followed all proper protocols. He offered friendship, and he was killed without cause, without trial, without mercy. Drav stood up suddenly. This is absurd. We tested your species as we test all new species. It is our right. Maria looked at him calmly. Please sit down. You will have your chance to speak. Over the next 6 hours, Maria presented evidence of the Vantari's history of similar tests with other species. 23 diplomatic envoys had been killed over the past century. Most of their worlds had been too weak or too far away to respond. This was not an isolated incident, Maria explained. This was policy. When it was the defense's turn, a Vantari lawyer named Zex spoke. He had volunteered to represent the council members. The hegemony has survived for centuries by showing strength, Zex argued. Our leaders acted according to our traditions. They could not have known Earth would respond as it did. In the audience, a tall alien with 4 arms stood up. The Vantari killed my world's ambassador too, 50 years ago. We could not fight back. We have lived in fear ever since. Other aliens began to speak up, sharing similar stories. The courtroom filled with voices of those who had suffered under Vantari aggression. Maria waited for the room to quiet down. This is why justice matters. Not just for Lieutenant Morrison, but for all victims of the Vantari hegemony. At the end of the day, the judges, 2 humans and 1 alien from a neutral world, called for a vote from all witnesses. The alien representatives, along with Vantari citizens who had been invited to participate, would help decide the verdict. The vote was nearly unanimous. Guilty. When the time came for sentencing, many expected the council members to be executed. The Vantari certainly expected it. That was their way. Instead, Captain Daniels stood and addressed the court. Justice is not about matching cruelty with cruelty, he said. Earth proposes the following sentence. The guilty will spend 5 years working as diplomatic assistants to the worlds they have harmed. They will learn about the cultures they once dismissed. They will help rebuild what they destroyed. Drav looked confused. You won't kill us. No, Captain Daniels replied. That would make us like you, and we are not like you. Dr. Martinez watched as the Vantari in the audience leaned forward, suddenly interested. This concept, justice without revenge, was new to them. Some seemed troubled by it. Others seemed fascinated. As guards led the former council members away, an old Vantari approached Captain Daniels. I have lived 200 years, he said quietly. I have seen many strong species, but I have never seen strength like this before. Across the galaxy, news of the trial spread. Earth had done something unprecedented. They had conquered the mighty Vantari hegemony in a day, then shown mercy when they had every reason for vengeance. 1 month after the trial, representatives from 27 spacefaring species gathered on neutral ground, a space station near the borders of several territories. This was the first meeting of what would become the Galactic Council. Secretary General Diane Harper stood at the center of the large round chamber. She wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's emblem on the shoulder. Behind her stood Admiral Lawson and Dr. Martinez. Thank you all for coming, Diane began. What happened with the Vantari has shown us that we need new ways to protect peace between our worlds. A representative from a world called Nerix spoke up. Many of us feared the Vantari for centuries. You defeated them in hours. Why should we not fear Earth now? It was a fair question. Earth had revealed technology far beyond what most species possessed. The quantum displacement network alone gave humans an advantage no one could match. Diane nodded respectfully. Actions speak louder than words. We could have destroyed the Vantari. We could have taken their worlds. We did neither. Admiral Lawson stepped forward. Earth proposes the creation of a peacekeeping force drawn from all our worlds. No single species would control it. Its purpose would be to protect diplomatic envoys and prevent the kind of tragedy that befell Lieutenant Morrison. A tall, thin alien with gray skin asked, "And what of your advanced technology? Will you share it?" "Some of it, yes," Diane replied. "But not all at once. Some technologies are dangerous in the wrong hands. We learned that in our own history." The discussions continued for days. Some species were eager to ally with Earth. Others remained cautious. The Vantari, now led by a new council, participated quietly. Their once mighty empire was changing, learning to exist without conquest. On the final day, Diane presented the Morrison Protocols, a set of laws protecting diplomatic envoys throughout the galaxy. All 27 species signed the agreement. Lieutenant Jack Morrison died bringing a message of peace, Diane said during the signing ceremony. His death led to justice, and now to these protections. He would be proud. After the ceremony, Captain Daniels stood with Major Collins and Lieutenant Sanchez, watching as the various alien representatives mingled and talked. "Do you think it will last?" Lieutenant Sanchez asked. Captain Daniels looked around the room. "Nothing lasts forever, but we've made a good start." Major Collins nodded. Jack would have liked this. He always believed different species could work together. Back on Earth, Jack Morrison's family gathered at a memorial service. His parents, brother, and friends listened as Secretary General Harper spoke via video link from the space station. "Your son, your brother, your friend, changed the galaxy," she told them. "He showed us all, human and alien alike, who we could be at our best." 2 years later, the changes continued. The Vantari adapted to their new place in the galaxy, still proud, still powerful, but no longer feared as conquerors. Former Council leader Drav, working as a diplomatic assistant on a world the Vantari had once raided, slowly learned about the people he had once dismissed as unimportant. Earth revealed more of its technology gradually, helping worlds that needed it most first. The quantum displacement network expanded, connecting planets that had once been too far apart to communicate regularly. On the anniversary of Jack Morrison's death, a new monument was unveiled at the Galactic Council headquarters. It showed a human hand and an alien hand reaching toward each other. The inscription, written in 27 languages, read, "Peace requires courage. Justice requires wisdom." Diane Harper stood before the gathered representatives of the galaxy and spoke the words that would be remembered for centuries to come. "We didn't come to conquer. We came to prevent what happened to Jack Morrison from happening to anyone else, anywhere in the galaxy. That is humanity's response to violence. That is our promise to the stars." Throughout the galaxy, species that had lived in fear for generations looked to the future with new hope. They had witnessed something remarkable. A species with the power to dominate, choosing instead to protect. They had seen humanity's true strength, and it was not in weapons or technology. It was in justice tempered with mercy, in power guided by principle. That was the legacy of the one human the Vantari had slaughtered, thinking Earth too far away to matter.